Hello, folks. Welcome back to November 20th's podcast here on the Philosophy for Philistines channel, also known as Politics for Plebeians. I'm your host, Bill Reimer. Today we're going to discuss how the globalist elite are keeping us at one another's throats, and that it is indeed all a part of their plan. No competent physician merely treats the symptoms of their patient's illnesses. Understanding the root causes of disease so as to cure them must accompany treatment if cures are to be effected. Likewise, no solution for our political and social ills can be found without first examining why society has become infected with mental pathogens which have their origins in dialectical materialism. How is it the West has fallen prey to an ideology which has resulted in over 100 million deaths and the oppression of countless millions more? For this is an ideology which rejects individuality, personal autonomy, and spirituality. The short answer is that these mental pathogens originated in the academy, where generations of naive young adults were inculcated with postmodernism and cultural Marxism by their Neo-Marxist professors teaching in the humanities. Subtitle: Why Many Who Stand for Freedom and Liberty Fail to Comprehend Trudeau and His Relationship with the globalist elite and Communist China. Without understanding the philosophy of Engels and Marx, you will not understand the most fundamental underpinning tenet of Marxism: dialectical materialism. Dialectical materialism rejects the very idea of the human soul, personal agency, spirituality, and any ontology which isn't based solely upon looking at life as a brutal material struggle. This default belief asserts that life is a zero-sum game, and therefore any meaning to be found exists in a never-ending quest for the political power required to obtain material wealth. Therefore, they loathe capitalism, since it disproves their dialectical theory in three significant ways. Firstly, capitalism provides proof that the voluntary cooperation of transactions is guided by an invisible hand. For this is how the father of modern economic theory, Adam Smith, defined how markets are best governed in his magnum opus, The Wealth of Nations, first published in 1776. Secondly, it removes the need for the state to redistribute wealth, since the market itself accomplishes that on our behalf. If it is only left alone without constant meddling from the government. Thirdly, it provides proof that life isn't a zero-sum game, and that voluntary cooperation outperforms state-enforced coercion. It is the game played freely by mutual choice, with all parties benefiting, which invariably surpasses the game played under compulsion. This is true even if both games appear to have the same or similar goals. Subtitle: and this gives the definition of dialectical Marxism from the dictionary. Dialectical materialism. Noun: the Marxist theory that maintains the material basis of reality constantly changing in a dialectical process and the priority of matter over mind. Please understand that Trudeau is not necessarily stupid, and neither are his cohorts in global Marxism. Rather, they are practitioners of Engels and Marx's dialectical materialism. They believe life is one enormous material struggle, and therefore they seek to control the economy to grab everything they can while creating a dialectical struggle between two warring factions of citizens whom they have pitted against one another to further their own Marxist agenda. For if we are fighting with one another, We won't be focused on fighting them and their ridiculous zero-sum belief system. Subtitle: After Justin Trudeau's rather desultory encounter with Xi Jinping at the G20, where Xi demanded to know why the news of Communist China's interference in Canadian elections had been made public, consider this. To all who flee to big government to keep us safe from all the nasty things that go bump in the night, never have we been left safe. There is no greater threat to the most persecuted and oppressed minority of all, the individual. The needs of the many outweighing the rights of the individual has always been the justification for totalitarianism. And the entire while that society sought protection in the arms of ever-expanding centralized powers, the more we discovered that it was those very powers which were artificially creating the growing number of crises from which they had promised to keep us safe. Let me be crystal clear. They do not do this because they are merely stupid. They do this because they're ideologically possessed. They see everything through the lens of dialectical materialism. Until you understand why our current elite class think the way they do, you could complain about their behavior until you're blue in the face without ever arriving at assigning a solution to counter the mental pathogens which affect every waking thought of that postmodern, neo-Marxist, woke cabal. Woke itself is merely one of their latest tricks used to further their artificially created dialectical struggle. The elite have deliberately created two warring factions and pitted them against one another to keep us constantly distracted and fighting amongst ourselves, rather than attacking the real enemy, which is this poisonous dialectical infighting. Playing whack-a-mole with the elite is exactly what they want us to do, since they will merely invent new and more clever assaults on sanity to keep us at one another's throats. Their goal is to destabilize and distract, to prevent us from curing the social pathology which has come to infect society. We are not one another's enemies. Those who seek to conquer and divide us are. Never in the history of the Dominion of Canada has a nation ever been more divided. Trudeau's government must own that division as their only real legacy. So there's some things to think and pray about on this November 20th. God bless you and have a wonderful Sunday afternoon.